All right, to be determined. Friday show, episode 4. TGI Friday. TGIF, Maddie? TGIF.
No, that's not a thing. You making up acronyms?
Some news breaking on the Friday. Pertinent news. Ryan Fitzpatrick signing for one more year. 1 year, $3 million deals. It was reported to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Maddie shimmies.
No, that wasn't shimmy. That's just a sarcastic. Boy. I mean, Jameis Winston, relative to his age, has been pretty good in the NFL so far since he joined not that long ago.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't really have too much of a learning curve, like probably even less of a learning curve than Marcus Mariota, who's a pretty big name right now. I don't really think it's that big of news. I don't know why there's some people out there that are kind of freaking out about it, because unless he gets really hurt, which he's a strapping young lad, so who knows if that's going to happen.
Well, listen, even Marcus Mariota broke his leg last year.
He done broke his leg, you said?
So, injuries happen. They're not signing Fitz to be the guy. They're signing Fitz to be the backup guy.
I know, but I mean, he had 5 more interceptions and touchdowns last year. His worst QB rating since 2006.
He's old.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
Whoa,
just,
easy. Easy guy.
See that? I didn't know if it would be noticeable. It was absolutely noticeable.
I thought you were in a earthquake out in Rock.
Ah!
A rock quake.
Oh, what? Sorry, I was screaming.
A rock quake.
Boo! So, yes, I agree with you that it's a big deal if Jameis gets hurt. But before that happens, I think it's just a moot point.
You know, I read a statistic that I can't remember, but I knew it was important last year. This is not going to make any sense. But the point of it is that a good number of NFL teams have to turn to their backup quarterback at some point. Look at the Cowboys. They had to turn to their backup quarterback in the preseason. The Titans had to do it last year. I mean, it's part of the process that you need a good backup quarterback.
Oh, yeah, no, like I said, it becomes a point if that happens. It's not a when, it's an if you ask me. I mean, Ryan Griffin certainly could not have been a serviceable backup if you ask me. So Ryan Fitzpatrick's there now. He got signed for Colin Kaepernick. Here comes everything. I think that's why it's trending, because Kaepernick, who is arguably the better guy right now in terms of viability as a starting quarterback if need be.
Yeah.
It's because of his youth, because of what he's done in the postseason more recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but now you're gonna have everything talking about the, I don't know if you want to call it political aspect, the off the field aspect. Now everyone's like, well, Fitzpatrick, much older, got signed before Colin Kaepernick. Will he get signed? So on and so forth.
Blaine Gabbert got signed before. So
Blaine Gabbert.
A couple of guys that are maybe not as talented, or I'll say it, not as talented as Colin Kaepernick getting signed before. So is he blackballed? Yeah, it appears that way.
Yeah. I think that's
which is
it opens up that bigger topic.
Not to dive into it too much, but I do want to mention this. It's sad that we want our athletes to be emotional. We want our athletes to say something and stand for something like Muhammad Ali used to. And when we get an athlete that stands for something, we completely throw him under the bus. I think it's an interesting debate. I do. It's not necessarily what we wanted to talk about today, but
I know we've talked about on I think it was the show itself before. It's about how the people that are actually making decisions may be the ones that have stuff swaying them in the, well, I don't know, I keep saying political. I think there's a better word for it.
It's an owner's decision.
So owners, yeah.
Yeah, but no, you're right. Political is the word. It's a political decision. I think these owners either look at their own political views or they look at the political views of their fan bases and say, we don't want anything to do with it. We don't. And listen, I think it's a reason the Bills maybe didn't try to sign him as a backup. You know, I know that Tyrod and Kaepernick have trained in the offseason before. Two guys that are familiar with one another, similar skill sets. To me, you plug in one guy for the next. I'm not saying the Bills ever thought about that, but it's an area. Now, I like the moves that they've made to bring in Yates, to bring in Peterman, and to obviously have Cardale there. I like that mix. I think you're fine there. But anyway, Let's move on to the second topic, Maddie. Blue Jays and Braves series just wrapped up. Was this entertaining or just hot trash?
I think previous skirmishes involving Jose Bautista were more entertaining.
Okay.
This one, I almost have to say it's entertaining for a different reason, because Jose Bautista, who's had all this recent history with this kind of stuff, he gets hit in the thigh yesterday and just walks nonchalantly. Nothing crazy besides just warning of the benches by the umpire.
Yeah.
Just walks to first base. I think that's a big story, and I think it was nationally in its own right. And this is a team, the Braves, I think a lot of goes into it because they're just restless right now. I mean, They're not doing as poorly as usual, maybe, especially in comparison to the Blue Jays, who have had plenty of success of late, and this year they're just faltering. But I mean, Freddie Freeman might have been the best hitter in baseball, and now he's out 10 weeks. So I think there's some restless aspect that really exacerbated things and made it maybe get to a boiling point quicker than it would have had otherwise. So.
Both teams are hot garbage, in my opinion. And actually, the Blue Jays, despite them being in last place in their division, have a better winning percentage than the Braves do. And the Braves are in, if I'm not mistaken, second place in their division. No, they're not catching the Nats. The Nats' bullpen is atrocious, but they're not catching the Nats. The Blue Jays, the AL East is so tough. I mean, how do you figure it out against, a solid Red Sox team, a solid Orioles team, and then maybe a surprising Yankees team?
I think it's very surprising. There's nothing maybe about it.
But to get back to this point, I was very entertained by this. I mean, we're at Game 40. I don't care about baseball Game 40. I don't. There's nothing.
Boo.
Don't boo me. We have NBA playoffs going on. I'd rather watch that. NHL playoffs are the go-to for me. So you're not beating Game 41 is not going to beat Game 3 of the Western or Eastern Conference Finals of either basketball or hockey. It's not going to happen. But this made me turn to baseball. And as you see in the rundown, I have it ahead of hockey. I have it ahead of baseball. And I just thought it was an entertaining little series. I like the fact that Joey Bats is bat flipping with his team down 5 runs after he hits a homer. Listen, baseball people interpret that as, oh, it's Joey Bats, he's doing this silly thing again. Couldn't it just be a message to his team to wake up? Are we not interpreting this the wrong way?
Well, my big takeaway from that O'Flaherty-Bautista exchange was that after the game, O'Flaherty goes, I'm surprised he's ready to fight again. Yeah, I know he got.
It was a year ago.
I know. Well, plus I know he got clocked by Odor, but that was one of the best sports punches I've ever seen outside of actual combat sports, and he stood on his feet.
Yeah.
He didn't go to the ground. I think both guys came out of that fight looking like big-time badasses.
But, Maddie, this is my question.
I'm surprised he's ready to fight again.
Listen, this is the
He
question.
took it well last time.
Could that have been a message to his team to wake up? They lost 3 in a row to Atlanta, a team that they're arguably better than. Could that not have been a message? No one talked about that. It's all, Joey Bats is at it again.
I don't know, just because that's something he does so frequently in all different kinds of situations.
Yeah, but
I don't really look at it as something that he was doing for that reason right then.
I don't watch every at-bat of his. I'm not a Blue Jays fan. When was the last ridiculous bat flip that he had? Wasn't it a year ago?
Oh, no. He does that regularly.
Okay. All right. We'll move on. Ducks get a win in OT against Nashville to tie the series at 2 games apiece. This was a wild game. I was passed out for the first period. I took a little snooze on the couch and woke up to a 1-0 game. I saw the Ducks make it a 2-0 game. I saw Nashville storm back in the third period to tie this up in the final seconds, only for it to go in overtime. And the talking heads are like, how can, Anaheim do this? They're never going to collect themselves. This is Nashville's Nashville's game.
I don't know. Talking heads.
I'm trying to stay within the box, that's all.
Oh, no, but I was like I was like talking heads, but this doesn't make any sense.
All right. I thought you were goofing on me.
Looks like antlers.
How does Anaheim come back from giving up 2 goals? They took a ton of penalties in that third period. I mean, that's a big win on the road. That's a big win. This series now transitions to Anaheim. It's going to be a 1-1-1 type series. I'm very entertained by this. I've said from the get-go, and I tweeted last night, that this series needs to go 7. Did you catch any of it last night, Matty?
No, but I was working. But
right.
You hear things here and there, and you mentioned talking heads. Well, the 2 problems I have with the talking heads after this game, one about how Corey Perry's goal was so lucky. I think this guy is 32 years old, and there's a lot of young guys in this sport. So 32, kind of like the NFL, that's a big-time veteran.
Yeah.
And also everything he's done in the NHL. I think him putting it even towards net like that, I think with some bodies around the area, I think it was maybe not luck. That's just a wily vet move, just putting it in there and seeing what happens. And then people are saying, oh, PK Subban, he blew it at the end. Well, he also scored. So that's the whole sports thing that you can bring up when it comes to sports topic, sports thing. Come on, what are we doing here? So the sports topic where, oh, he blew it at the end, but what about the contributions to get to that point to even be in it at the end?
Yeah. No, then 2 great points, Matty. One, as the old saying goes, you throw it at the net, good things can only happen. He had a player streaking. You're hoping that what happened happens. Not that streaking. Not that.
I couldn't even get the button done. No, I'm
okay. No, but you're hoping that it deflects off of a stick, off a skate, something. Those greasy goals, as they're called in the play, that's what you're looking for in playoff hockey. That's what wins playoff hockey. It's not always pretty. It's not always the PK Subban clapper from the point that just has eyes and gets through everything. It's that kind of grinder goal. You got a guy crashing the net. He's got his stick on the ice. Listen, PK Subban played a phenomenal game. He had a number of small things that he did right in that game. And then just the one, it's not even a mental mistake, it's a bad bounce. That's just a bad bounce. You got it. You have to, if you're a defender, you have to make some sort of play. You can't just skate along with the player and hope that everything goes all right. So, like I said, this is 2 great goalies. If you didn't know about John Gibson before this, you should know about him now. I was begging the Sabres to trade for him before they got Leonard. Now, if you had sent Anaheim a first-round draft pick for John Gibson, totally different story in my mind. But anyway, I'll ramble. I won't ramble down that alleyway. 2 great goalies, 2 phenomenal teams. This is a fun series to watch.
How about our boy Nicholas Richard had another goal. He's dicing it up.
All right, Matty, let's go to Cavs and Celts game dos. Game 1, wasn't good for your boys. Was not good for your boys.
I mean, I wasn't expecting too much from this series. Especially game 1. I know, it's an overused...
Yeah, but game 1, you think because Cleveland has been sitting for, 10 days? Maybe they can jump and get one?
You think? I guess they're just tired. I don't know. I know that's an overused storyline, but...
That the Celts are tired.
Yes. And then, I know Isaiah Thomas had said that a lot of people are giving guff afterwards saying that's kind of the easy way out, describing it like the rest aspect of it.
Right.
But LeBron, he looked like vintage LeBron where everything is inside. 13 of his 14 field goals inside the arc. That's just him. And that's smart by him because there's not a lot going down the middle. Kelly Olynyk is not going to go for the crazy stat line he did every night in that one game. I mean, Amir Johnson hasn't really panned out in the middle as someone who's not really going to score a lot, but he's going to block shots. He's going to do stuff on the boards to a big-time degree. Just he's not really doing it like they thought when they brought him in a couple years ago. And then, Tristan Thompson is someone that will do that. Those 2 things I just mentioned, they hope Amir Johnson would do. And then he goes out and hits all 7 of his field goals, all 7 of his shots. If he's providing offense, it was already going to be a bad series inside for the Celtics. And then you add Tristan Thompson scoring inside on top of everything else he does in there.
Did you see LeBron turn his back to Olynyk and dribble between his legs? I can't remember when it was, and I think I just saw it on a highlight, but what a savage move. No respect for Boston's defense whatsoever. And listen, who can check him? Nobody.
when the defensive switches happen and it's an ISO between LeBron and Kelly Olynyk, you'll see the fear in his eyes, like, oh no, oh no. In every aspect, from where he was at the perimeter until at the cup when you made that circus layup, it's just like 4 amazing moves in one possession, all by LeBron James. Unbelievable.
Do you get the feeling that we're headed for 12-0 and 12-0?
I think definitely in terms of the Eastern, and after the Kawhi thing, just the momentum shift, and then Game 2 was such a blowout. I think it's boring. It's going to add to the boring playoffs, but I think that's going to happen more.
I haven't looked this up, and I just thought of this, so this was bad producing on my part. Has that ever happened before? Have we ever had an East and a West team go 12-0 and then meet in the finals?
See, both teams?
Yeah.
Probably. Celtics, Lakers at least. But I don't know what the setup was back then. I don't know if they played 7
on that for the podcast, because I think that's an interesting debate. If both of them go 12-0, I don't think this has been a boring playoffs.
Oh, that's the thing. It'll be boring playoffs, but exciting finals, maybe, if you want to call it that.
Yes and no, because listen, I mean, here's the thing: if we've never had 2 teams, at least in modern memory, for lack of better producing, if you haven't had 2 teams that have been 12-0, all of a sudden meeting in the finals, that's an intriguing storyline. And listen, I've said it from the get-go. To me, no offense to your Celts, I want the Cavs and the Warriors for a 3rd straight finals. To me, that's the most entertaining series.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's what the NBA wants from a money standpoint.
Sure. Anything else on this series, Matty? All right, we'll move on then.
Yes.
We'll move on to a topic that you said we should have in there, and I'm a little disappointed I didn't say we should have this in here. So you're more of a lax bro than I am. I need to jump back on the horse here. The men's lacrosse championship. Let's see. Are there games today?
I know.
No,
your
games
Syracuse
tomorrow.
Boys play
Saturday and Sunday. Sorry.
Saturday and Sunday.
I've got my dates screwed up.
I see. I don't have the dates on here. The official brackets. Now I printed this out. This is from the website. This is the official bracket.
All right.
This
I
is
don't
the
see the NCAA logo there. I think that's the Johnson & Johnson logo.
This is the PDF that you can print out from the NCAA.com website. Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of Spartan. You would think it'd be a little bit better put together. But
apparently the budget is tight.
All right.
So yes, we've got on the left side of the bracket, number 1 overall seed Maryland facing Albany, Denver Notre Dame, Ohio State Duke, Towson Syracuse. Most interesting matchup.
It's probably got to be Maryland Albany, just the fact that Albany, everything that they had to deal with last week, and the fact that they had such a tough draw, and the fact that they have T.D. Erlin, at least in the top 2 of Fogos in the nation, against numero uno.
Well,
Matt Rambo, we might as well mention that we had that poll about
shout out to your boy.
Yeah, after last week's action, who was the viewers, the Twitter followers, the listeners, who was their favorite name still left in the dance? And Matt Rambo narrowly beat out T.D. Erlin, who I mentioned a second ago.
Yeah.
Dalton Roundpoint, his Great Danes teammate, and Ryder Garnsey from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
All great names, and kudos to you for off the top of your head for that stuff. That is the most intriguing matchup, and I don't know why I'm pointing over here. I think I'm jabbing you in the head. Yes, I'm pointing over there because I have it on a monitor over here, which is why I looked over there when I read it. Anyway.
I'm trying to see if I'm right on the perimeter of what's going to get cut off.
It's probably like it's probably like half of your face. T.D. Erlin is a microcosm of Albany, and here's my argument for that. T.D. was arguably the best face-off guy in the nation coming out of high school, playing for the top team in the nation in Victor. He didn't get the offers. He didn't get the scholarship offers, and this is a smart kid on the lacrosse field and in the classroom, so it's an easy kid to bring into your program, and a guy that did not get any respect on the recruiting trail. Albany recognized this, and they've had, I don't want to say a pipeline, but they've had a number of guys from the Section 5 area, and in particular Victor, that they have taken and given opportunities to. Albany, in the same respect, the number 8 seed, this was a team that had taken down a number of big-time opponents. And I read an article that said, is Albany the Gonzaga of the lacrosse world? And there is some merit to that argument. So. But, I mean, listen, at the same time, Gonzaga is no longer a mid-major in my mind. They've got the tools to recruit. Similarly
to Albany, I would say.
Well, see, I don't even know that Albany had... Yes, I guess. You know what? You're convincing me. Maybe I'm convincing myself.
I think a lot of that has to do with the size of the school. And they're a small school in this field, and they're usually in the field. Just like Gonzaga is in terms of high seeds within the larger field of the men's basketball side of things. But, no, kind of like what you were saying. You told me last week, I mean, it's not a huge surprise on top of that, but you know what you're talking about when it comes to lacrosse. You goalkeepers and then your Fogos are what's so important. Yeah. Like that one aspect can completely change a game.
It's like, the first
in terms of possessions.
Yeah,
you said the first positions that coaches look for when recruiting.
When you recruit as a coach, you want a good goaltender because you need to have some saves. I mean, it's so difficult to make a stop in the sport of lacrosse, but if you get a good one and you get a guy that can be hot, he'll carry you like Evan Malloy was for Syracuse last week. You saw Syracuse losing all these face-offs. I think they lost
at least 3/4 of them.
I think Yale won at least 17 or 18 face-offs, something along in that, which is it's 18 extra possessions. Think about that. Can you imagine getting 18 extra possessions in basketball? That's insane.
In this sport, like, special teams are maybe better than offense and defense.
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's absurd. Well, and it's just the fact that a lot of people talk about how Albany and Tewaaraton finalists and probably the guy who's going to win in Connor Fields, how they're the number one scoring offense, and Kyle McClancy was unbelievable last week. Number one scoring offense in the nation, and so much of that comes out of TD Erland.
Yeah.
And I guess I can see a little bit why. From. Yeah, even though he had the production, just the size, it's such a testament to his mind and how he puts it down to a science where he's a smaller guy. You look at Trevor Baptiste, who was the other guy in that top 2 when you talk about Fogos this year nationally. I mean, I keep saying it to people. He's like if Dwight Freeney was a Fogo. Yeah. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's huge. And TD Erland is like a third of his size, but he's just so tough and he's so smart.
Well, he's quick. He's quick and he's smart. Those are his best attributes. Okay. All right. Well, and I think it was your colleague, Toby Matiga, that did the story, was it 2 years ago or last year, about TD. Not only did he excel in the classroom and on the lacrosse field, but he's also a pretty good chess player.
Yeah, just like chess.
If there's ever a chess match in the sport of lacrosse, it's at the face-off X. There are so many different strategies. Now, it may look similar to the untrained eye, but there are so many different strategies and so many different things happening in that X. It's amazing. It is too many for me to comprehend. I'm not quick enough or smart enough to do it, which is why it's never a face-off guy. But you have to process so much. Not only do you have to figure out what you're going to do and what your wing guys are going to do, but you have to process what the other wing guys are going to do and what your opponent is going to do in front of you. I mean, to me, there's just so much going on. That young man does not get the respect he deserves, and we're a little biased, obviously. I mean, I covered him for 3 years. We both lived and worked in the Rochester area. You still do. So we're a little biased in that regard, but this is a young man that is going to be the best face-off guy in the nation, I think, next year. And listen, he gets a little bit more muscle on him. You get the seasoning. This is what I've said, and this is what I experienced in the college game. When you take that jump from freshman to sophomore year, you're no longer an underclassman. I don't care what anyone says. You're now a veteran because you've had a year to experience it and see the speed, the size, the game flow, everything about whatever game it may be, whether that be football, basketball, field hockey, whatever it might be. You understand from freshman to sophomore year there's a jump, and you're expected to make that jump. He will. And listen, we still get to enjoy him for at least one more game on Sunday when they face the top seed in Maryland, and that will not be a walkover game for Maryland.
I was just about to say, who are you picking the game? It sounds like you're going to pick Maryland. I think it's tough.
No,
it's tough.
You know what? I'm gonna ride. Well, see, here's the thing. Maryland. I've watched Maryland's defense, and I told you this before. I told you this last Sunday. Maryland's defense is so good. It is so good. It's astronomical, and It's so good in one-on-one defense. They are not quick to slide because they have
That's
faith in their one-on-one matchup abilities. And that's insane. The sport of lacrosse is all about help defense. It's where the slide's coming from, barking out orders. These guys are like, you know what? We're going to check you one-on-one. That is so old school to me. It's insane to think about that. I'm going to ride Maryland, but this one will be the best game of the weekend, I think. I'm going to ride Maryland, though.
Yeah, I'm going to ride Maryland as well. And I was just about to mention to you because that you're breaking down Brian and Maryland. Terp and Derp. For me last week on the whiteboard there, and you were mentioning how it's the aspect of slides or the lack thereof that Maryland uses to their advantage.
And it's so opposite thinking. That's what makes it so unique. And I don't know if it's to me it's not effective, but clearly it is because they're the number one team in the tournament. I can't fathom it how that happens. I really can't. Because you're relying so much on that one defender and your goalkeeper to make a save. Yeah. But hey, it's working for him. It's working.
And then Denver, Notre Dame. I mean, you have Trevor Baptiste, and I know you've followed Sergio Perkovic for a while now, and then we add Ryder Garns into that. I don't know if they're back to 100%, even though they're playing again. So I'll probably go Denver. It's Baptiste. Like all the things we were just talking about.
Yeah.
But how that game.
Notre Dame seems to be a little more banged up. It's two really good coaches. And this time of the year, it's all about coaching for me. I think Denver, and I think simply for what you pointed out, is that they appear to be the healthier team. And if the two coaches kind of void each other, for lack of a better term, then I think it comes down to health. I'll take Denver as well. Let's go to Ohio State and Duke next.
I mean, Duke, that was such a big accomplishment in terms of giving Johns Hopkins their first ever home loss.
And that was a bad loss.
By a country mile.
Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Sorry, but it was that big.
Yeah. It was absurd. And I'm a Big Ten lacrosse guy. I'm a college lacrosse guy in general, but I came from a Big Ten school, so I was hoping to see the Big Ten have all three of its other teams besides Penn State after they lost earliest of the foursome. That did not happen in that next game, though. So that's obviously very big for Duke. A lot of momentum with that. But Ohio State, I know we keep talking about big-time guys in terms of ground balls and how they're doing the face-off X. We talked about TD. We talked about Baptiste. Jake Withers, just another one in the line. He's third and behind just about everything involving that kind of stuff behind those two guys. So I think Ohio State's going to take it. We'll see.
Historically, Ohio State has not been there. It's a building program still.
Yes.
They have the resources, like a Michigan, which is how you end up in the tournament maybe faster than you should. Again, it comes down to coaching. Duke has the better coach. I'm going to go with Duke. Simply because it's the experience. I think that's a nice
momentum,
win.
Experience. Absolutely experience.
I think Ohio State gets a nice win over Loyola. Loyola is a good program with a good coach.
Hottest team at that time, probably.
Yeah, and I think that's a good win for Ohio State. Now, I'm going to be wrong about this, but I'm going to go with Duke.
No, don't say that. You're going to be wrong. I'm probably going to be wrong. It's the Big Ten. The Big Ten hasn't been too good.
Well, all right. Towson and Cuse.
Something's got to give with Towson. Like, I heard Quentin Kasanich saying this past week that Towson will never be outworked. Effort is maybe the best in the country or best in this field.
Yeah.
But just the talent isn't there like it has been so many different times in their storied career.
Yeah.
So I think something's got to give.
We talked about that Penn State matchup, and Towson, I think, outworked them. That would be a good way to describe it.
Yeah, well, they overlooked them. They overlooked them, which is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think to a certain extent. And I'll tell you what, Towson's head coach, I always forget his name, but my God, that dude looks like he could still play.
Mike Towson, I think.
He's so jacked, it's not even funny. I think their run ends here. I think Malloy got real hot against Yale.
Just ride it.
I think, again, it's kind of like hockey. You get a hot goaltender in the postseason, and you can ride him to a championship. Now, Syracuse needs to be better at the face-off X. They need to be. There's no question about it. I think Syracuse has the right mix of experience on both ends of the field and a nice mix of youth. And the youth, again, another Victor kid, Jamie Trimboli, who has surprised everyone, and no one more than myself, because I didn't think he would sniff the field as a freshman. He was the top midfielder in his recruiting class, but at Syracuse, kind of like at Maryland or at Notre Dame or at Duke, it's hard to get on the field as a freshman. He has done it, and he has performed more than admirably, whatever it is.
Yeah, you got it.
I haven't had enough coffee today. He had the goal that made it 10-9 against Yale. That was the go-ahead goal. Yale came back. Business.
Yeah, right. I just got unlucky. I think
You did. I just had mine on ring too. But anyway, he scores a lot of big time goals. I think Evans is finally playing some good lacrosse. He still is a guy to me that holds on to the ball too long in certain situations. Salcido's the go-to. That kid is been undersized and underestimated his entire life. And he just seems to perform in big moments. I love it. I like Syracuse, and I think Syracuse gets to another Final Four weekend, and I think Syracuse ends up in the title game. If it's Duke or Ohio State, no disrespect to those guys, my bias is going to show here. I think they end up in the national championship game. To me, that's the easier road. Maryland against Albany, that's a tough game. And then even if Maryland gets past Albany, what's your reward? Duke or Denver? Denver or Notre Dame?
Yeah, I
agree. Skilled teams. Again, great coaching staffs on both of those squads. That's not an easy road. That left side of the bracket is very tough. The right side, Syracuse, to me, has got the easy road to get there.
Yeah, I think they definitely get to the title game, too. I mean, they get the easiest Elite Eight opponent.
Yeah.
And plus, I would definitely want to go against Duke or Ohio State, probably over maybe all four teams on the left side.
Yeah.
At least Denver, Maryland, and Albany.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that left side is just, golly, there's not a bad team. I know Albany's the 8, but they should have not have been the 8. I mean, you could make an argument they should have been the 2 seed. So, it's insane. All right, Maddie, that'll wrap up the Friday show. Unless you got anything else?
I was just going to mention, kind of piggyback off what you said about Trimboli. Not only is he putting up goals on this team, it's the timeliness of them.
Yes.
It's the class.
I think that was wrong with that's what was wrong with your car the other day.
The clutch aspect of it. I'm just thinking of like the little aliens in Toy Story. The class instead of the claw.
The claw. Wasn't it the claw?
Yeah, and then you mentioned again that like usually freshmen, even if they're crazy big recruits, don't do this on Syracuse because of all the talent. Yeah. Plus, this Syracuse team had a bunch of talent transfer in on top of the stuff they already had.
Yeah.
It's just, for him to be doing this on this Syracuse team, it's unbelievable.
Very impressive.
Hats off to Jamie Trimboli.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be seeing Malloy. You didn't really respond to it. I think we're going to see him do the John Wall after the game again, too.
That was funny. All right, so that'll do it for the Friday show. Coming up on episode 12 of the podcast, oh, God, I forgot the call letters down there. I think it's WTSP in Tampa, St. Pete, the Tampa Bay area. Good friend, former colleague Justin Granite, going to join the show. He covers the Rays down in old Tampa Bay, but he covers a number of teams because a lot of teams hold their spring training down there. So the fan interest, not just with the Rays in Tampa, there's a lot of Northerners that make their way down to Tampa. I was trying to think of the warm weather birds. I don't know what the term is, but there's a lot of people that don't like the cold up here that go down to Tampa and decide to stay. So the fandom down there is broad. It varies. So he's a guy that covers a lot of teams, and in particular the AL East.
Which is very relevant this year.
Very relevant this year, and for good reason. So we'll have Justin on, get him on for a couple of minutes, talk about baseball stuff. That'll be some entertaining stuff. Ashley Carter going to join us.
The female correspondent.
Our female correspondent, Ashley Carter, to talk about some male fashion. That's the tease. That's the tease.
I'm going to do just fine in this segment. Boom.
All right, Maddie. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. We'll see you this Sunday on the podcast. Make sure to check us out on iTunes, Google Play. Download, subscribe, archived episodes, all that jazz. Check out the links below for all the social media stuff. Download episode 11. We had a tremendous show, still relevant, with Jonah Javad and Sports by Mom. Still a relevant podcast, still a relevant episode. So go check that out if you haven't. Anything else, Matty?
No.
Just kidding.